Spoilers. Stupid, pissed off idiot likes
This is a story about
revenge.
It's just a shitty version of Nisekoi, but devoid of actual humor. This show wasn't really boring, just bad. A month ago, I began working on a video for Masamune-kun's Revenge, a harem rom-com that I knew was objectively terrible, but I just couldn't stop thinking about. It was going to be a simple video. Call out the anime for every stupid thing it does, and then say why I liked it anyways, because shit taste is the best taste. There was just one small problem. I didn't think this was a dumpster fire at all. Now I know some of you are probably rolling your eyes thinking, man, look at this guy thinking he's so special with his hot take. But if all I wanted was a hot take, I would have just made some clickbait video about the Attack on Titan ending. Instead of doing that, I've spent the last month trying to understand why I can't just see this as a shits and giggles rom-com. Because Masamune-kun's Revenge is simultaneously the most cliché and also the most unique show I've ever watched. A show that uses basically every trope imaginable from school festival, beach episode, tsundere, lollymom, terminal illness, fireworks, class rap, maid, trap, hentai episode. Yet the show somehow examines these tropes in a way I've never seen before. Take the fireworks scene, which on the outside is pretty typical. Terminally ill girl's looking good in a yukata. She saw him staring. Oh shit, now she's talking at him. And things are pretty much going the way you'd expect them to go, with romantic tension slowly being doki dokied up until the show inevitably decides to either A, pop it with a joke,
drop it like it's hot,
or B, give us the lewd hand-holding we've been waiting for. But instead, the show kind of throws you into a mini existential crisis. One that honestly feels a little strange for a rom-com because it's neither romantic nor comedic. It's just kind of fucking sad. But that's what makes this such a special story. It really doesn't preoccupy itself with trying to make you feel warm, fuzzy, and happy. At best, it flashes a pair of tits or panties in your face because it knows you're a
fucking degenerate.
Sorry, am I projecting? If I had to pin down the theme of Masamune-kun's Revenge, it would be the duality of love and hate. Despite being a rom-com, the show actually takes this theme quite seriously. It's just surprisingly hard to tell at first glance. When Masamune was 8, he was rejected by a girl for being fat. In direct response to this, he moved to the mountains, trained with his grandpa for 8 years, and changed his last name to Makabe, all for the purpose of his grand revenge. To make that same girl fall in love with him just so he can dump her. It's a tough premise to take seriously because of just how ridiculous it is, but I think it absolutely is meant to be. No matter what dumb situation the show comes up with, like getting cucked by your fat doppelganger who stole your identity, the show never does anything just because it would be stupid or funny, though I'm sure that was a consideration, and both the terminally ill girl trying to seduce him and the identity theft doppelganger are mirrors for Masamune to see himself through. Neko as a mirror to his present self in the way he's trying to seduce Aki, and Gasso is a literal doppelganger of the fat self he used to be. Both of these characters resulted in really interesting and unique scenarios which, for me, forgave them for being pulled out of the author's proverbial butthole. For Neko, it was an existential crisis, and for Gasso, it was set up for the really satisfying reveals we got in Season 2. Reveals we had to wait 6 years for, but now that it's here, I am glad I did not read the manga. As dumb as it sounds, watching Season 2 is one of the best things to happen to me this year, and I really think that if the show had just been released with 24 episodes, we wouldn't have half of these negative reviews. I mean, even if you like the show, having Season 1 end on unresolved identity theft cucking is pretty brutal. But man, did Season 2 fucking deliver. I expected it to just kind of be closure for Season 1, but it turned out to be a lot more than that. We got to see the cucker get her shit rocked, and yes, it was a girl because anime logic. But even more important than that was finally getting Aki and Yoshino's full stories. Aki's was foreshadowed pretty heavily in Season 1, especially by the arrival of Gasso because none of it makes sense if she was the one that rejected Masamune all those years ago. Maybe I just like the childhood friend trope, but to me there's something unfathomably romantic about love that is deeply rooted over time. A love that never truly disappears, no matter how hard you try to get rid of it. If I had to give one criticism for this show, it'd be the overimportance put on childhood events. But at the same time, there's a certain validity to it, and if you know, then you know. Yoshino's reveal is a bigger surprise, and I'm not going to spoil it, but you might already have guesses to where it's going. One thing I really liked about these reveals is the way it explained the really tropish behavior of both of these characters. To most, Aki is just a tsundere, and a very dislikable one at that. Cause you see there's tsundere, there's and then there's Aki, crossing lines that even tsundere shouldn't cross. But both her exaggerated tsundere bullshit and her binge eating were clues that we didn't have the full story. But of course, everybody just saw it as random rom-com BS, and who can blame them when season 2 didn't even exist yet? It's kind of the same deal of Yoshino, where even though it wasn't foreshadowed as much, that submissive maid trope she embodies also has reasons for. On the outside, it was maid trope go brr, but in reality it's actually quite important. I'm not going to say what she did, but she basically spends her whole life feeling guilty and trying to make it up to Aki. Not in the way you'd expect an adult to handle it, but in the way you'd expect an 8-year-old who has no idea what they're doing to handle it. At the end of the day, this isn't a story where likable, mature people resolve things in likable, mature fashion. Nor is it a story that just slaps you in the face with serious trauma that immediately makes sense and justifies its appeal for your empathy. This is a story of a problem that never should have become a problem. Of 3 people, one by one, lashing out in emotional pain. It's chaotic and it's ridiculous and it's stupid, but damn is there something human about it. And seeing our main characters slowly come to terms with everything that's happened and emerging from it as happier, more honest people can only be described as cathartic. From feeling honest happiness for the first time in years, to psychosomatic hives, to a remix on I Have No Enemies, there's a lot of things in season 2 that just feel right. And most importantly, it was seeing our characters say what needed to be said. Not out of malice or self-interest, but because they truly care about each other. From love to hate, back to love again. And funnily enough, that's how I describe my own experience with this show. From initially enjoying it, to hating season 1's ending, to really loving it after giving it another chance. And part of me hopes other people can do the same now that we have the full story. Gloomy and bitter, lighthearted and silly, completely ridiculous and yet utterly serious. An absolute paradox of a story, all glued together with a syrup of thick satire. But above all else, so hopelessly romantic. Hey guys, just wanted to say hope you enjoyed that video. And I hope I was able to get across some percentage of like why I think this is such a special show. This took a really long time to make because there was a little part of me that really did not want to think that I actually liked this show and thought it was legitimately good, but I do, clearly I do. So I'm not trying to say this show is like peak fiction, and frankly there's only like 3.5 well-developed characters, but I feel like they were good enough for me, more than good enough, and the author does some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. This is where I should ask people to smash the like button, but I don't know how to ask for that properly. If you like the video, smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. Hope you have a nice day. Bro fist.